What's up, you guys? It's Graham here, and the market has just completely lost its mind. I mean, when you look objectively about what's going on, we're at some of the most expensive valuations ever in history. Prices are trading at levels that just don't make any sense whatsoever. And I'm looking at this, trying to make sense of it, which brings me to this video here, which discusses whether or not it is too expensive right now to invest in the stock market. So with that said, I want to comment on this as soon as you hit the like button and subscribe, and as a thank you for doing that, here's a picture of a bunny. So thanks so much, and also big thank you to Relay for sponsoring this video, but more on that later.
I want to tell you a story about a viewer named Sam. He recently emailed me, but a year ago, concerned that the stock market was overvalued, they pulled their money out and put most of it in cash. And now he's asking me, he says, "Hey, Rob, shouldn't we just stay in cash, wait for a market crash, and then invest our money?" It's a great question.
You know, that's the equivalent of someone saying like, I have this wart, and I took the liberty to just remove it myself. And now I just have a terrible infection. What do I do? And it's like, you know what? Maybe before you did the thing, it's worth sending an email. Maybe before you go and sell off all your stocks, it's worth posting on Reddit, posting on Twitter, asking a buddy, making a phone call, and just say, hey, is this a good idea? Before just click sell, and then thinking, oh man, did I just screw this up massively? Yes, a terrible idea, but it gets worse.
While we are not supposed to time the market, isn't it obvious the market is overvalued and due for a correction? Why should we get back in now and build a portfolio of equities and bonds? Can we hold on to SGov? I'll show you what that is in a minute, and jump in after the next crash while protecting our nest egg. And the starting point is to say that I think all of Sam's observations about the market and all of his concerns are absolutely, in my view, 100% valid. The Shiller PE, here it is, and you can see that it's at a 41. Now, if you're not familiar, the price to earnings ratio is a measure of just how expensive the stock market is.
Now, the one thing I want to comment on the Shiller PE ratio, because I look at this too, and it looks scary. It looks like the world is about to fall apart, and it looks as though, outside looking in, it's just, that's bad. But the thing is, it's just found that when we have valuations like this, what usually ends up happening is that instead of seeing explosive hypergrowth, we tend to see smaller returns. Not a crash, it just means instead of getting 15+% a year, we might see 5%, 6%, 7%. That's usually what this indicates for the next 10 years, but it's not guaranteed.
And the second thing, he has his money in SGov that invests in short-term treasury bonds. You can see the yield based on the last 30 days of interest is about 3.5%. The question now is this a good strategy, and should we just wait for a market crash? And here, I think we have to look at several things. And the starting point is that inflation.
And here's the thing, more money is generally lost waiting for a crash than in the crash itself. I'll say that again, because that's important. More money is usually lost waiting for the crash because you're missing the upside than the actual crash itself. Look back over the last, we'll call it 15 years or so. 2008, we saw the S&P 500 drop by 40 to 50%, depending on what you're invested in, at what time, 40 to a 50% drop. That's a lot. That's taken $1 million, you slash it in half, 500 grand. Okay, fine. The other crashes, though, 2020, we saw a decline of about 30%, give or take. And then recently, during the 2022 AI infrastructure, metaverse bubble, whatever you want to call that, the rate hike cycle, saw a drop of about 20-something%, could be 30. And then recently again, during the tariff scare, we saw about a 15-20% drop, depending on what it was. All of those, had you just done nothing, you would be making a lot of money. Okay, now that doesn't mean we're always going to make money in the future. Things could always happen. But it is to say that if you just do absolutely nothing, you just buy and you go about your day. Go and see a movie. Go and see Obsession. That's a great movie. I highly recommend. Go and watch some of these great shows. Go and see Odyssey in 4DX. There are some Great shows to see out there. I highly recommend it. In fact, I was just watching the other day, James and the Giant Peach. Fun movie. Point being, if you just went about your life and you bought in and you don't check it, and then you come back 30 years later, you'd be in for a nice surprise, most likely. So we'll continue, but just keep that in mind.
The second thing to note is he was out of the market for the last year or so. Is that a big deal? Now, I don't know exactly how he invested, but let's look at Vanguard's VT.
All right, look, here's the thing. At the end of the day, if I could offer one piece of advice for all you business owners out there, all the entrepreneurs, sometimes efficiency matters more than the actual business itself. Like, sure, early on, you might be able to get away with doing everything yourself, manually tracking your expenses, and continually telling yourself that eventually you'll take care of it. But eventually, you'll have to figure out what's for taxes, what's for payroll, what's for these expenses, what's for those expenses. And it becomes a pain, it becomes a nightmare. Trust me, I have been there. That's why our sponsor Relay is built around helping small business owners create a clear financial system all in one place. For those unaware, Relay is a no hidden fee business banking and money management platform that lets you open up to 20 checking accounts. This means instead of having your money blended and pulled together, you could separate it and keep it organized for things like payroll, taxes, savings, operating expenses, or whatever makes sense for your business. Like when it comes to myself, I had the exact same setups for my rental properties. Each one had its own checking account, its own expense account. Everything was so easy at the end of the year because everything was separate. On top of that, Relay also gives your bookkeeper, assistant, or other team members their own personalized logins with custom permissions. That way, you don't have to share passwords, but you could still delegate the day-to-day work while still maintaining complete visibility and control over what's happening. Then when bills come in, Relay has built-in bill pay and invoice management. And you could connect Relay directly to QuickBooks or Xerox and upload receipts as you go. This helps keep your records completely organized and your books audit ready. Now, ultimately, the point here is to not make your business more complicated. It's all about creating a system that just gives you more visibility and control over the cash flow coming in and out so that you can actually focus on growing your business. So all you have to do to get started is click the link down below in the description or scan the QR code on the screen to learn more and sign up today. Thank you so much. Now let's get back to the video.
Let's look at Vanguard's VT. In 2025, if you factor in both capital appreciation and the value of the shares and its income, its dividends, it earned just under 22.5%. So that's return. Again, I don't know exactly how Sam invested his money, and he may have had some bonds, but just using this as sort of a general idea, being out of the stock market in 2025 would have been a very significant loss.
This is what actually concerns me here. I mean, look at what we got. 2025, we got a 22% increase. The year before, 16%. The year before, 22%. The year before that, okay, negative 18%, whatever. Because the year before that was 18%, 16%, 26%. Oh my gosh. Okay, then it drops by 10%, then 25%. Come on. I think investors over these last really almost 2 decades have gotten accustomed to these returns that are just, oh my God. When you look historically, they're anomalies. Now, that doesn't mean, again, that it can't continue for another 10 years or that for 20, we have no idea. But I'm just saying, historically, these are crazy. This is crazy. And I think a lot of people are delusioned to think that, like, oh, if I don't make 20% this year, I failed. I'm worried what's going to happen. The stock market might go through a stretch where it's really only averaging a 3 to 6% return. And investors are going to say, why am I investing in the stock market 3 to 6% when I could do this over here, make 10%, this over here and make 15%. I could risk money here and here and here. So just keep that in mind. That is a concern for me.
I had AI draw up this chart for me. And what I wanted to show is that if we're going to time the market, you have to be right twice. You have to be correct when you go to cash, and you have to be correct when you finally buy. And in my experience, that is extremely difficult to do. And we can look at just using the S&P 500, going back to 1928, it's had extremes, both positive and negative.
That is why it is so impossible to correctly buy and sell and get in or out. The best strategy, I've said this so many times, and people joke about it. They say, Graham, you're just saying the same things. Let me guess, Graham, DCA and chill. Yes, because otherwise you're making mistakes. And listen, I'm not perfect. I've kept probably too much in tax-free muni bonds when I should have been investing. That's my fault, but the vast majority of my money, I'm talking like 80%, is invested in the markets, and that's because I know I can't do this. This little simple triangle here, I can't do that. If I'm lucky, I get one right, but I'm probably not going to get them both right. If I try that, I may as well go to the casino. And I could go to the casino anytime because we're in Vegas. And there's a reason I don't just put everything on a roulette table like this. Okay? Because I can't do that.
This is an asset map that shows different asset classes, in this case, going back to 2011, will hover over REITs. And you can see some years they were number one. We can go to investment grade bonds, but they have HG. High grade bonds is what they call it. What about high yield or junk bonds? Sort of the same thing. Sometimes they're towards the top, sometimes they're near the bottom. Large cap, now they've done extremely well. We're going to go to cash. As you can see, cash really long-term doesn't do well. What about small cap? Well, again, sometimes up, sometimes down, sometimes number one, sometimes near the bottom. Welcome to investing.
This is just why it is so important to be diversified, because it's like, imagine this is really just a roulette wheel at the end of the day. You're just putting money on, you're putting your chips on like, oh, I think this is going to do well this year. And you spin the wheel. And then it lands on something else. You're like, oh, darn, I'll do it again. And then you put your chip there and then like maybe it hits. But like over the long term, there's a house edge on that. You're going to lose. And that's why it's so important if you're going to do a strategy like this, you pick the winning combinations, which is just you kind of bet a little bit on everything. Something is going to hit. And if you roll a 00, then that's, it doesn't matter anyway because the world just ended. So besides that, it's why you want to bet on everything.
Can you come up with a well-diversified portfolio that allows you to stick with that investment plan no matter what's going on in the market? And by the way, it can be just as hard to stick to that plan when stocks are going up as it can be when stocks are going down, because when the stocks are doing great and you're missing out on all those gains, as Sam has done for the last year, it can be really hard to stick to that all-cash portfolio. When stocks are going down and losing 10, 20, 30% for a couple of years in a row, it can be really hard to stick with that all-stock portfolio, which is why I think a more diversified portfolio makes sense for most people.
That's very true. I think it's really important to understand who you are as an investor. And because it's personal finance, it's all going to be very personal. I know some people who would be okay 100% in QQQ. They don't care. And if the market goes up 30%, they're celebrating. And if the market goes down 40%, they live with it. I can't do that. I don't like the volatility. I don't like just the panic and I just know myself. And so for me to feel safe and comfortable investing long term, I gotta have 20% on the sidelines in tax-free muni bonds that just make a blended 3.8, 4% a year tax-free. Okay, it's not optimized. It's 4% tax-free. And the rest of it's invested. And even with the rest of it invested, there's still, I got one more piece of rental real estate, a primary. So I'm like, I got my real estate exposure. I got some other things to fall back on. Active income. There's a lot of things that I got going on so that if the market drops 50%, I still got some buying power. I can still buy in. I'm not panicked. I'm not like, oh man, I got to sell the bottom. And that's what I need. But other people might not need that. So everyone's going to be different. When you find out who you are as an investor, lean into it. Just embrace it. As long as it's not like too dumb, okay? Like as long as it's not, my style as an investor is all in GameStop. Don't do that. That's stupid. But beyond that, you can find an allocation that works for you and stick with it.
My take is that I think for most people, and certainly it's true for me, I am much better off coming up with a plan that I can stick to no matter what's going on and stick to it. Not trying to time the market when it's going to crash, when it's going to hit bottom, when it's going to go back up. Every time I do that, I got to get it right twice. You multiply that over a lifetime of investing, and you've got to get it right over and over and over again. And missing it even just once can wipe out all of the gains you thought you had by timing it right the time before.
Now, in my opinion, that was probably one of the most balanced takes that I have seen when it comes to the stock market. And I highly recommend, if you're sitting out there a little worried about what's going on, just don't panic, stick with the course. Everything will work out fine in the end, hopefully. And don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done that already. So with that said, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Don't forget to check out our sponsor down below in the description. Really hope you enjoy them. Appreciate it. Until next time.